are you interested in really the secret, right? And there is some secret to having a high performing aesthetic team. And how you too, right, can feel really confident in saying, yep, my team is high performers. We are a top 10 percenter. And if you're on the fence, right, of like, oh, I have, an all-star injector, or I got a few that are really good, and then a couple that kind of, pull up the slack end of things. I want to challenge you to think a little bit bigger here, because did you know that a high performing aesthetic team, they don't just perform a little bit better, right? Not just an incremental amount, but literally, quite literally, they can perform up to 10 times a normal team. 10 times the production, the experience, the results of a quote unquote normal team. Now, this particular topic really has been on the forefront of my mind and many conversations with clients recently. So I thought that it was just really relevant for me to share this with you today, because it really could benefit so many aesthetic practices out there. Because when you analyze and look at high performing teams, there really is several key things that are different. Several key things that are different. So today I'm going to be sharing with you the secrets that performing teams, they know that just normal average aesthetic teams tend to lack, if I'm just being perfectly honest with you. So many studies have taken place in an effort really to determine, like, just what is it? What is it? What's the secret sauce behind a high performing team? And really, the meta analysis is clear. It is clear. And it shows in really most situations that the biggest difference between high and low performing teams is that they are very high performing. And what I mean by that is that it just doesn't follow this, one might call like this bell curve, or even distribution between like low and high performing teams, but it actually follows more like what is called like a power law, meaning the top performing teams in aesthetics really follows more like that 80-20 rule, where it looks like, the teams at that top tier performing are quite literally doing 10 times better, right? And I see it every single day in the phone calls and inquiries that I get from practices that, are struggling to even break even, right? That are struggling to make their first million, right? And the discrepancy between, a million and less, and those that are doing 3, 4, 5, $10 million a year in revenue are the things that I'm talking to you about today. Okay. All right. So, what are they doing? What are high performing teams doing that is just so different? Well, there are 4 things that are clearly identified with high performing teams. So, I want to break that down for you. So, the very first thing is they work out loud. And what I mean by that is that high performing teams, they actively share their work and their progress, right? So they really foster transparency and collaboration. And it's ongoing, right? It's not just having a weekly meeting, dividing out tasks and then going out and doing it yourself and reporting back every once in a while, right? No, it's quite literally everyone sharing, right? They're sharing what I'm focused on now, what I'm focused on next. Did I complete it? How did I complete it? When did I complete it? What did I learn from it? What challenges did I have? What pivots did I have to make, right? What do I need help with, right? And working through that out loud with your team, it really helps for everyone to stay in sync and to be able to make adjustments so that both the individual and the team is getting what they need, right? For everyone to win. The second thing that high performing teams do is they take the time, right? And they're really invested in understanding one another's differences. So they recognize and they appreciate, individual differences that's going to help them leverage, learn, grow from others' perspectives, right? They take the time to really get to know each other, and not just on a surface level, right? Like not just racial or gender, right? Or favorite color, but really like their personality, their preferences on communication style and learning style, right? Because everyone is different, right? We can all love Botox fillers and laser devices, right? But we can all still be very different in our learning styles, our communication styles, right? And those different preferences. And so, really taking the time to understand and learn about the differences and preferences of our team is going to produce a higher performing team, right? It's going to help us to work better. It's going to help us collaborate better. So make sure that you're truly taking the time to understand preferences and differences. So the next thing, number 3, is to build trust, right? This is not something new that you probably heard of before, but I want to break that down a little bit more and unpack it in the sense of building trust, to be able to trust that they can speak up when they disagree, of course, in a respectful way, right? And there's a time and a place, but to be able to speak up, to say that crazy, outlandish idea, right? And not get judged for it. And even more important, to trust that if they fail, right, or admit their role in maybe one of the team's failure, that they're not going to get kicked off the team, right? That they're not going to be thrown to the island. They have to be able to trust that they can be heard, that they can speak up, they can speak their mind, they can communicate how they're feeling, right, about things. And these teams, of course, they prioritize trust building activities, that's going to create a supportive and safe environment where really members can feel empowered to take risks, to innovate, to share their ideas, right? And this isn't just like doing trust building activities where, you fall back and my team catches me. Like, that's great, right? But really comes into play every single day, every single day. Because we know when teams trust each other, they're going to dramatically perform at a higher level, because when failure occurs, no longer do they just retract or it's done and over with, right? But they have the opportunity to learn and grow. They have a safe place to be able to do a proper, after action review and learn from it, right? As opposed to just feeling like, fingers are being pointed, right? There's always an opportunity to learn and grow. But if we don't feel like there's a safe place to do that, then oftentimes it's inhibited. All right. So the fourth thing that high performing teams have that others don't is that they constantly reinforce purpose. Okay. And what I mean by that is high performing teams, they regularly reaffirm their shared purpose and motivation. Okay. And they keep reminding each other, right? It's not just, you're not just pigeonholed into, there being one charismatic leader that is doing all the motivation, right? All the cheerleading, all the reminder of why we're here, guys, and what our big goal is. But a high performing team has all team members reinforcing purpose every single day. You're not just having one charismatic leader that takes the brunt of it all on their own, right? So those four things, right? Those four things, working out loud, really understanding the differences and preferences of our team members, having trust to fail, trust to grow, trust to ask questions, trust to share crazy ideas, and a team that isn't just reliant on one, but a whole team that can really count on one another to lift them up and remind them of why we're here, what we're working towards, right? And not just on the shoulders of one person. Hey, Dr. Pickens. Hey, Donnie. Hey, Tiffany. Thanks for joining me. Hey, Jessica. Thanks for joining me here. Awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to open up the floor for any questions that anyone might have. And because remember, like, the secrets that I just shared with you today, right? Again, this is not a team building exercise that happens quarterly or once a year, right? Or a getaway that you do a weekend retreat. These secrets are not single actions that's conducted once or every once in a while, right? Instead, they're habits, guys. These are habits performed on a regular basis. And as teams continue to act on these habits, they're going to continue to improve. And it, like, the growth is crazy, right? Because when you have these habits, even when you think like, oh, they're doing really well, like this is the best work ever, what's exciting is you're going to continue to see growth. Like, even it's going to get even better, right? And so if you loved this training, make sure that you share it with your team or another med spa that could benefit. And you can catch the replay live on my YouTube channel. And if you want to continue to grow, make sure that you visit my link tree, because I have a ton of free trainings there. And be sure to join me live every single week, same time, same place. Catch me on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining me.